Warning. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect that of the HHN TV or its constituent entities. Furthermore, some parents may not find this content suitable for children as it contains explicit language and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, everybody. I'm Drew Duncan. The show's fired up, and we are live. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan Radio. I am wherever you are listening to podcasts. Take your device to play Fired Up by Drew Duncan, iTunes, iHeart, etc. Wherever you're listening, I am there. Matter of fact, you could just Google Fired Up by Drew Duncan, my man. Plenty to get to today. Obviously, we're going to be talking North Carolina, Minnesota from last night. We're going to be talking Colorado, Coach Prime, North Dakota State last night. Obviously, we're going to be talking LSU, USC, Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Georgia, Clemson. Plenty to get to today. But as you know, it is Friday. That means our MMA insider, Austin Ford, is hanging out with us live. Austin, good to talk to you, my man.
And it's good to be here. The first day of fall. It's went from tank top weather to hoodie weather overnight. So I'm excited. Man,
I woke up to 65 degrees this morning. Of course, a big part of it was a nasty storm blew through here last night, Broham. I barely got any sleep.
You're in Tornado Alley, bro.
So are you?
It doesn't come through the city like it comes through the country.
Who said I'm in the country, man? What the You out there? Shit.
And who said I'm in the city? It's not really a city.
No, it's not out there in the burbs and Hey, what?
No, it's true. I'm not gonna. We're trying to move on up. You know what I'm saying?
I know that's right, man. Man, I know that's right. Moving on up. Man, I used to love that damn show, man. Gosh, man, they don't make them like they used to anymore. Man, Sanford and Son, Fresh Prince. I mean, literally from the 70s to the 90s, I think was probably the best time for TV shows, man. It's dead, bro.
And we would watch... we'd wait a whole week for the next 30-minute show. The humans today cannot wait a whole week for just 30 minutes with commercials of a show next week. It's a different day and time, man.
Nah, man. I think Modern Family was probably the last show that was truly able to pull that off. Other than that, I mean, I used to love Family Guy, but I don't wake up anymore thinking to myself, oh, it's Sunday, Family Guy's on tonight. Like, I haven't had that thought in probably 10 years. You know what I mean? Maybe even longer, Yeah. But regardless, look, every 6 months or so, this conversation somehow rears its ugly head. And I think for me, the thing that I am tired of the most when it came to the Khabib McGregor thing that happened is Khabib ever since, and I don't know if it just all went to his head or if this is partially who he's always been, which I would say yes to that. He just acts like he's been this mega superhero, that it was all just grit and determination beating McGregor. He released a quote in an interview a few days ago where he said he wanted to, quote, bite McGregor's heart, end quote. At least this is to me. Maybe you'll think differently, but why, number one, why does this thing not die? And number two, why do you think Khabib paints himself as such a martyred hero almost, even though he won the damn fight? It's weird.
Well, I think they fed Conor to Khabib. I mean, we knew that was going to happen. We knew that was going to happen. What chance did Conor have, and that was to knock him out. And then we knew exactly how it was going to end. He's going to take him down up against the cage, leg lace, Dagestani handcuff, and then left hand. I mean, it really was just an easy fight to predict. And then you see, and you can imagine in Khabib's culture, there's not a whole lot of flash and, or not in the way it is over here, kind of flash with no substance for no reason. And Conor continued to soar and climb. When did you say the last time Conor won a fight?
It's been a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have Khabib, who he's seemingly humble. He's seemingly, like, I guess, religious, and he's a blue collar guy. He's a blue collar fighter, and then he had to sit over there and watch Conor just continue to soar and build his bank account, and I guess his popularity. And I'm guessing that probably rubbed him wrong. It's not fair, but I'm sure Khabib is used to not fair, but maybe he's a little bit of America's rubbing off on him. And when you can't beat him, join him and become the heel. I guess. But again, like you said, oops, I almost cussed, even though this is rated R. But who cares? Who cares?
I'm telling you what, the conversations that I've had with people have gotten real intense. I mean, that
really?
Oh man, they're tied together in infamy, bro. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And it's crazy to me because people love to rewrite that whole thing. I guess they forget that Khabib and them went and cornered Artem. And even when you try to talk to his fans about it, they defend it like it's okay for 7-8 guys to surround one dude, all because supposedly Artem had called Khabib a pussy. Okay, let me ask.
You're not called pussy. You're not called motherfucker pussy. Nothing.
Yeah.
No.
So look here. Let me ask you this, because I know you hate bullies. Let's say you call me a pussy, and what do? I catch you in the hallway by yourself with about 8 or 9 of my dudes, and then I roll up on you. Would that not verify the information?
Yes, because if you show up by yourself and you can bring all of them boys behind you, I might think a little less of that. But I think the most pussy part of it is, why you get mad that someone called you a pussy?
Right.
You're not. You're a beast.
You
know
know?
How many times I've been called a pussy or a bitch? I'm cool with it. Now, if I'm in prison, I have to respond. That's the rules. Or you could get smashed, or literally your life will change forever if you don't respond to that. But out here, man, it's about how you respond to things. And so I guess Artem was right. No, I'm kidding. Khabib is not a pussy in any way, except that he responded being called one. So, I don't like it.
Well, and my thing is, people always talk about McGregor throwing the chair, throwing the dolly, grabbing all
Idiot.
that, right? Okay. They forget, though, the first part that happened. And McGregor said, all right, you want to surround guys? I'm right here. And, for me, Khabib was screaming, send location, send location. Bro, there was a location, the bus. All you had to do was get off. And he didn't do it. And for me, I think the other thing that gets lost is that the UFC was about to make McGregor drop that title. And Khabib wanted that fight from the beginning. He had been trying to draw McGregor out.
Of course he did.
So I think that he also...
Low-hanging fruit.
Exactly. And I think he used the Artem situation to make sure that fight was going to happen. And then it couldn't have worked out even better for him because Tony Ferguson had to drop out of that fight with Khabib. right? And then, what was it? Max Holloway was the one that ended up taking the fight short notice. And to me, everything just perfectly fell into place. And I always maintain that when McGregor came and did what he did that night, that Khabib knew he was in his head in that moment. And I felt like he'd already won the fight. And I think it was all a manipulative strategy from Khabib to get exactly what he wanted, and that was Conor in the cage and beat him one-on-one so that way he could say he's a true champion. Because he wasn't going to let anybody call him a paper champion.
Well, he's no longer talked about as the GOAT. Islam is basically a carbon copy of him. So, but, maybe he wanted to be a great coach. Maybe his father passing really did affect him. Maybe he'll come back, and here we are talking about it. But, it was just that, I don't know, do you remember the footage of him throwing the stool or whatever in the bus?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it kind of reminded me of when you followed a WWF wrestler to the back of the house.
Stone Cold messing with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
When he poured the concrete in the vet.
Oh, my goodness. I did not like that. And that was right around the time where I forget who it was. But he won in Bellator. And Conor ran from the stands, jumped over the cage, into the cage, tackled the fighter. This is just celebrating with his fellow Irish fighter. And then it was chaos in there. And I thought, this man, and I think that was the beginning of the end, because this man has lost his mind. And then the champ does what the champ wants, I'm like, you can't just do whatever you want. You can't throw a stool into the bus. Rose Namajunas, I think she got the worst of it, but there was glass. Everybody got hit with glass. He might as well just, sprayed the whole bus with a rifle, like what are we doing? Just got friendly fire. We got what do they call it? Collateral damage.
Right.
Like
casualties of
windows,
war.
You can't even tell. Yeah, what are we doing? Like, this is bonehead type stuff. And there was a time where I thought, this man Conor, it's Kobe level of manifesting mentally into reality. It was amazing to watch. If you really watch closely, you listen to what Conor said, and you watch him perform, the Aldo, and you're like, man, this is it. This is one of the greats. And then what a tragic fall off, because he had the right amount of confidence. He had that work ethic. He had the skills. He had the mental fortitude that, like, you really mastering the law of attraction. But there was this thing underneath that was, he was a hooligan, and literally a hooligan. And that won out in the end, because money revealed that character, So good for him. I'm sure he's not complaining. But
well, I think for me, the thing that gets missed is I don't justify Conor throwing the dolly at that bus. I just tell people, look, if you want to know why, there's a reason. Conor didn't just wake up one day and go, you know what I feel like doing? Hopping a flight from Ireland to America and throwing a dolly at a bus. And that's literally how people make it sound. And it blows me away. And I for one, am tired of the self-righteous act from Khabib. He's been in deep waters with, rappers, and stuff has happened with him at nightclubs. And then
Really?
Oh yeah, man. And then he turns around and hides behind his religion. And I'm just like, bro, that's kind of not how this works. And look, I never agreed. And for some weird reason, people think I did. I never agreed with what Conor said about Khabib's dad's death, ever. But, I never was okay. Well, I was like, damn, man, you're going a little too far. Like, you've already done the bus thing. Like, just train, But with the religious stuff, I always tell people, look, if you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud. Now, I'm sure everybody's seen The Equalizer, right? You pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud. When you want to run around talking Islam, when you want to run around doing crazy and then you want to do all this with Conor McGregor, nobody's like, you want the ante upped. Nobody ups it like McGregor. He thrives on that man.
Well, he's playing that. He's playing the game, but the Russians, they're not playing a game, right?
True.
And they need to lighten up, because recently I saw. I'll just kind of paint this picture. One fighter calls a Russian fighter a mother effer. And his response is, "What'd you say about my mama? You think I F my mother?" Like,
right.
No, not literally, bro. Like, and that's how shit will pop off.
Yeah.
With them. They're big on, I guess the word is respect, but it's not real respect. It's respect is giving grace, but they don't give grace. They're taking every word literal. They do not support American religion, and I use that loose term loosely, because I'm not even sure what America's religion is, but they're very serious and they take things too literal. And then another thing is, if you got a problem with me and I'm in the UFC and we're in the same weight class and we're close to the same ranking, we saw this with Makayev and who's the last guy he fought? Just fought, but they had beef all fight week long. And Manel Kopp. And why is that? And then you saw them before the fight. They had to keep them separated when they are announcing them in the cage. And then the fight begins and they're managing range and catching reads and being cautious. It's like, you don't have to be like, I've heard this saying about, I respect anybody that steps in that cage. It's not that big a deal to step into the cage. It's not. You can take an ass whooping. That's fine. That doesn't mean you trained your butt off and did the right thing. You're a fighter and you're in the best organization in the world, but you're still a scared barking dog. It was like two dogs barking on each side of the fence, and you open the gate, and then what happened? Where's the blood? I just don't like that part about it. If it's on site, it's on site. Right? But those are prison rules. There's nothing that serious out here. What'd you say about my mom? What'd you say about my dad? He fell right into the trap. When you're trying to project strength, and really all I see is weakness. I like the quiet guys. They don't say much. They're like, okay, keep talking, and let's be clever. Let's keep it in the realm of reality. And then once that cage door closes, do you remember Dricus and Adesanya? Their standoffs. When they were staring at each other before the fight started, man, they weren't even really moving. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's when he says, "You ready? You ready? Let's get it on." Man, let's get it on.
Amanda Nunes, and here's the thing, and this is what I tell people. Amanda Nunes proved that fighters do not have to be Ronda Rousey. They don't have to be Conor McGregor. There is a place for them where popularity exists. The problem is they are just as easily forgotten about as they are, let's say, credited or soared or admired and loved at the time because she's so quiet and reserved, right? That literally it's like 5 minutes after she wins a fight, it's like, oh, okay. I mean, literally, and you won't think twice about her. Whereas McGregor, Rousey, some of these others, they're not going to let you forget their name, man. It's just the way that, hell, even Habib. I'm so humble. Really? Because you really don't mind popping up every couple of months to remind us that you beat Conor McGregor, bro. I mean, it just, you know what I mean? Look, if you're Dana White, how do you promote an Amanda Nunes to make sure that her name is never far from the lips of an MMA fan? People that are like her, fighters that are like her. Because Amanda's the definition of what you're talking about. I just want to fight and handle my business. That's it.
Well, I think he rolls his eyes when he sees Bilal Muhammad win the, welterweight championship. He's like, dadgummit, man, how am I going to promote this guy? Or he kind of banks on a Sugar Sean and says, now this is a guy, if he makes it to the championship, we're in business. We can make money off this guy. And as he should. It is a business. And sure enough, whether it was Sugar Sean's path to the championship, he did beat Aljamain Sterling. I was honestly surprised. Like, I didn't put it past him, but I'm like, okay, impressive. And now if he beats Dvalishvili in the Sphere, man, this is the next Conor McGregor, and he's a good old American, but again, and I have a source, and I won't give it away, but I got to talk to him yesterday, and this guy has more style in his little finger than I've seen anybody in a long time. And he showed me his closet. I was like, oh my gosh, this kid is an amazing designer, and he's a fighter in the UFC. And I see Sugar Sean. He's wearing his clothes. He jacked all of his swagger, and so there is this. What are you wearing? How are you acting? Where are you going? What's your social media look like? Those things are very, very important to Dana White, because he knows who else it's important to, and that is casual fans. And without the casual fans, I don't think we really have a UFC. You look at Memorial Hall here in Kansas City, we can't even pack that place because it's nothing but real, local, hardcore fans. We have to have the casuals for this sport to be as big as it is. And, when in Rome, do what the Romans do. But you can get to the championship by just showing up and winning. You can. But what's more exciting, what's more memorable, we see it time and time and time again. It's the ones with the paint on their face that get the most attention. So
Joker.
Okay, I wasn't going to say clowns because I don't really mean that.
Well, but here's the thing, though.
Joker level.
But Joker, I mean, he's a clown, but he's a psychotic clown, though, bro. So, I mean, it's not exactly an insult. You know what I mean? That's kind of all part of it. You know what I mean? It helps. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, Joker walks away from a lot of shit. So, I mean, he wins a lot. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
And real quick here, I mean, you talked about this fear. I saw Dana talking about it the other day, where they're literally, because they're having to schedule stuff out because they got so many other things going on in that sphere. And literally the production team is having to go in there like overnight. I mean, he's talking about doing like 8, 9, 10 hours straight. They got to go in. They got to get everything set up. They have to do all these tests and run-throughs, and then they got to hurry up, take everything down, get the hell out of there. You want to talk about an insane process, and you've put a cage together, my man. This is not something that's done in 30 seconds, despite what people think. This takes time to do this. Do you think this is going to be a huge thing? And by the way, Dana was pissed because there's a boxing fight that night. He's like, why are they doing it? Why are they scheduling it around my thing? That's you a little more respect. Well, bro, they got to get their money too. And for me personally, I think if you believe that your product is that great, you're not worried about it. But you know, Dana, it is what it is. Him and boxing.
And he thinks he's so connected to boxing, which he came from boxing. But yeah, I mean, I think he said they're up to $20 million that they've spent just preparing the show.
Yeah, man.
And which it's like, if you have FU money, why not? It's like in boxing right now, we've had a resurgence in entertaining, the fringe stuff, the lights and the sounds, and I can't think of his name, but he's a Middle Eastern guy, and he's throwing all that money at it, and it's working. But in the past, we know that if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Like, we have to make money off these fights to survive and put on another fight and build our brand. But really, you have to spend money, right? And so Dana White's willing to spend this much money. He's a gambler. I am so excited to see what it's like inside that sphere during the fight. I can't imagine being there. So I'll be watching on TV, but I'm very excited for that part about it. Now, 20 million. I mean, how about we make the bonuses $1 million too then for that night? Let's pass it on to, the fighters, but it's going to be exciting.
Well, and that's provided that his main event doesn't somehow end up getting screwed up. It seems like that's been the thing this year, man. And I can't blame Dana for being as paranoid as he is, and he's still talking about Shelly and, oh man, he's real tough after he saw him take the damn stitches out by himself.
What? I think I've done that every single time I've got stitches.
Yeah, literally, you just snip and then pull. I mean, it's not, right. We're not talking quantum physics here, my man.
No.
Right. I mean, come on.
I've done it with fingernail clippers, and that's ill-advised.
Man,
those things are nasty.
Yeah, no, I hope you sterilized first, man.
Yeah, just a little rubbing alcohol. That'll work, right?
I mean, my mother's an esthetician. You got to do more than that. You got to get a Q-tip and
recommended overnight.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, you don't have to overnight, but it's recommended that you take a Q-tip and you get in there to make sure that all the stuff that was under your fingernails and toenails is off of there, man. You can leave. My mother was a real germaphobe, man. She had one of the cleanest houses in the world, bro. I'm just gonna let you know right now. Everything had its own towel. Everything had its own, everything, bro. She hated filth. Yeah. Every Saturday when we were growing up, we had to wake up at 7:00 in the morning. She did us the service of making us breakfast at least before she made us clean, before we had to clean.
That first help.
Pretty much, and then we'd have to, clean the entire house. And, me being the oldest, in addition to cleaning and all that stuff, then I had to mow the lawn or paint the fence or clean the garage or, shovel snow or chip ice. I mean, whatever the hell, so in addition to all of that, I was told to get my ass out of the house and go do some man work too. So,
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. You feel me then? It's like
Absolutely.
Yeah, bro. It got to the point where I couldn't even stay the night at friends' houses because their parents would get so pissed because my mom would call at 6:30, 7 o'clock on a Saturday and just, hey, Andrew's got to come home and clean. I mean, and my mom didn't expect to go pick me up. She expected whoever had me to bring me to her. Like Queenie over there on her throne just dictating to the world. Speaking of dictating, Marshawn Lynch, I sent you the video. I'm sure you've probably seen it beforehand, though. But
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
It's been floating around for a long time, and I don't know why I suddenly feel the need to talk about it. But I watched that video, and I think to me, there's so many misconceptions. Number one, when I played Pee Wee football, I was getting cussed the hell out. Now, I could deal with it better than a lot of the kids that I went to school with because, well, that's how my mother was. So when coach is calling me all kinds of, FUs and da-da-da, I was like, all right, man, this is Tuesday morning at my house, but not all the other kids could deal with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
In fact, our coach had to apologize because some of the parents got so tired of the language, but it is what it is. The other thing is he's like, do you have a husband here with you? It's not an insult. It's really not. It's that Marshawn is looking and seeing that this woman is in an extremely high emotional state. And so there will be no being able to talk to her. And look, everybody's got a different style, right? I mean, you look at Jason Wilson, I'm sure you know who he is. A tremendous coach in MMA, very uplifting while disciplining at the exact same time. He mixes everything in beautifully. So calm. That's his demeanor. But that's not always probably, I'm sure, who he is. I'm sure he gets after his kids. I don't know. I think if my kid got cussed out by Marshawn Lynch for being lazy during a drill, I would probably be saying, hey, stop disrespecting Marshawn Lynch. Your coach, stop being lazy. And if you got a problem, then either get out of his drill or let him discipline you the way that he needs to. Now that's me.
And that's me too. I don't think Marshawn Lynch did anything wrong at all in my eyes. And I'm just going off of what Mama Bear was upset about. That he said, get the F out of my drill. Well, now, he didn't say, get the F out of my drill, P.
Right.
I didn't hear her complaining. Like, I hope Marshawn made the kid do push-ups, and because what he said he would do. I hope he did that, but she didn't complain about that. So it was, I get why Mama Bear is so upset. Her baby got singled out. Her baby is undisciplined, right? Her baby maybe shouldn't even be out there if he doesn't know who Marshawn Lynch is, and he doesn't know that Marshawn Lynch's advice to how to run the ball is just to run through a motherfucker's face. You know what I'm saying? And that's the guy that you're there. You are so blessed to have Marshawn Lynch out there coaching your child, but she doesn't understand that. She's in just pure mom mode. So I get it, but somebody has to explain to her football. You have to be a dog. You have to be thick-skinned. And my son, plays Division I football, and I feel like I prepared him for the coaching style of anyone, where not only do you get cussed at directly by your teammates, the coaches, but there is some real, I don't care about your feelings at all And you have to deal with that. You have to deal with, it's like, does anyone even like me on this team? Does my position coach even like me? I mean, and it's like, yes, you're out there. You're in a uniform. You know, they're talking to you. Of course they do. But it doesn't feel like that all the time because, you know, some of us are sensitive in how people talk to us. And I get it. But you have to be taught that. That has to be ingrained in you. And that's the culture of real football. Now, today's society is softening that so much. And it's not even just how we've softened football. It's how you can't say, you know, earlier we were talking about Sherman Hemsley and the shows we used to watch, you know, where you would hear a homosexual slur just off the top. You know, we used to watch All in the Family. You see N-words being dropped. Like, or, I mean, it really is, or the C word, a Caucasian slur, you know, just thrown around, but you can't do that anymore at all. But on that football field, on that sacred gridiron, it's still like it used to be. And I hope it never changes, you know, because it's violent. You have to be mean. I don't know if you have to be angry, but you definitely have to be mean. I used to tell my son, and he never was scared, never. But from an early age, I told him, if you're ever scared, you're worried about getting hit, you got to hit everything out there moving every single play. If you are looking to hurt someone, not injure someone, hurt someone, every play, you're probably going to do all right. And then you think about, well, what if other kids' parents are teaching their children to do that? Well, then we definitely have to do it. Because if everybody's doing it, then, yeah, you better be doing it. You can't be out there jacking around in Marshawn Lynch's drill, not listening, probably not paying attention, probably clowning around. Marshawn knows how dangerous football is. Marshawn probably assumes this kid doesn't have a dad, or his dad's not that type of dad. Where's dad? You know, do you have a man with you? He was even respectful about, he could have said, where's his dad? Right. That would have been a nice low blow. But he said, are you with a man? Your dad? Your current husband? Your boyfriend? An uncle? Where is a male that I can speak frankly to? Because you know you can't talk to Mamba Bear that way. So I see nothing wrong with what Marshawn Lynch did at all. I don't blame the mom, but she needs to be learned about what's actually going on out there. Otherwise, you've got your son in the wrong sport.
Well,
you know, just pick a different sport.
No, I agree. And here's the thing. I think people forget that even with all the rule changes and all the different things that have gone on in football, it is still at the end of the day a very, very violent sport. And a good majority of athletes and coaches will tell you the way to get hurt is by not going full speed. Because when you are hesitant, the other guy, he's a freight train moving. And he's not being hesitant, and he will put your ass down, and you will not be getting back up. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And I think that we forget. Go for it.
Well, I used to tell my son, and he never did this. He tore his ACL and walked off the field. So
right.
Never, ever lay on the field, right? Because if you lay on the field hurt, one, we got to come out there and get you. Two, your parents or your mom probably is in the stand. So don't do that to your mom. You get up. And if you can't get up, man, we're all out there. And we're going to be there for you. But if you can get up, get up. If your leg's not broken, then walk your ass off the field and come over here because we're all worried about you. And I can't tell you how many times my son would hit kids and they'd lay there like they were dead. And they were fine. They were fine. And they'd go out there and the coaches would get on a knee and, the mom's at the edge of the stands at the fence now. And, oh, you know what that is? It's all that attention. It's all that attention that they just got. And because of how they were raised, it's any attention that they want. It's not, I want the attention of Marshawn Lynch. I want Marshawn Lynch to tell me, great job. I want Marshawn Lynch to come talk to my mom and say, your boy is a beast. That's not what they're seeking. It's any attention. And so that young man got that attention.
All of it.
Mama, all of it. Mama got in Marshawn Lynch's face. Where was the kid? That's what I want to know. Where was he?
Right.
Why wasn't he on camera?
He was back there hiding out, boy.
Because he knew I better not get involved in this because it's unpredictable. But he's back there thinking, this is exactly what I wanted, maybe even subconsciously. So you don't lay there. It's football culture. It has molded my son and many of young men just to deal with what life is going to throw at you. If my son's coach in high school, up until his senior year when we transferred to a different school, his coach, I didn't know if his coach liked my son at all. And he's the starting quarterback. And my son is a good boy. I sent him to four weeks of military school just to enhance his character. And at first he didn't want to go and came back to at 13 years old. He goes to this extreme military challenge for 4 weeks in Battlefield, Alabama. And it was no punishment. He was a straight A student. He's a good, solid young man. No problems. But that's the type of stuff that I wanted my son to go through to prepare for what your boss, who never played sports, he doesn't do anything, and he's talking to you like you
he's
ain't
crazy.
shit.
Yeah, like he's crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy. And I also told my son, if you ever are on that field and your coach is out of line, he's putting his hands on you, he is, just out of line with his use of words and body language and things like that. And I said, just count back down from 10. That's all I want you to do. And before you get to 1, that man will be on the ground. And I was serious. I'm a Papa Bear too, but you're going to have to assault my son for me to get involved. Man. I never talked to the coach. I didn't even talk to my son about it. He didn't talk to me about it. He might mention, like I see down there, he comes off the field after a touchdown and the coach gets right in his face. I might say, hey, what happened there? It's comical because I know it's just coaching going on, right? It's like, yeah, nice touchdown, but you didn't do what I asked you to do, and that's what I'm concerned about. I don't care about the touchdown. I care about your character. I care about you following the rules. I care about having control of this team, and especially the most important player on this team. So it's deep. And so what Mama Bear did with Marshawn Lynch there, I would be so curious to know if that was corrected or if that boy had to continue to be raised like that. Because is he soft still? Is he disrespectful still? Can he not get in a line? Can he not follow directions? Now he's probably graduated high school, and what's his character like now? Or did someone pull Mama aside and say, "Hey, you're viral, congratulations, but you should never have done that. This is what was going on. This is what a Hall of Fame running back was trying to get your son to understand. He couldn't get your son to understand with, hey, buddy, get in line. Hey, okay, give me 10 push-ups. Hey, what are you doing, man? You can't be acting like that. All right, get the F out of my drill. That's a progress of what happened. And I hope someone explained that to her. And I hope that kid's okay, because he could be in a rough spot now.
It ain't like he went Bobby Knight on him. You know? He wasn't choking the kid. He wasn't headbutting him. We weren't seeing any footballs or chairs fly. You know what I mean? It was pretty normal stuff from what I understood. The lady was just mad because he was cussing his ass out. Well, welcome to football, amigo. Like, speaking of really quick here, KU last night, Lindenwood, you impressed with that win?
Oh. Well,
they didn't look too great to me.
Lindenwood,
I'm talking about KU.
Lindenwood camp. Well, they handled their business. And you know what? I don't want to disrespect my sons and my conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you almost fell into it there, buddy.
but when they watch film as they're scouting Lindenwood, and I'm gonna throw this as hypothetical, and obviously just completely on the record, but it's hard to get up for Lindenwood, and I think it probably bit Colorado in the butt a little bit. But I think with KU, what you saw is the 2s and 3s getting a lot of time. The game was in control, by halftime. What was it, 30-something to nothing at halftime?
Yeah.
Right. So that's just an extension of the spring game or a preseason game. So I'm not putting too much stock in that. I know you hate preseason rankings. You probably don't like judging a team like how Brock Purdy's his offseason or his preseason. If you judging it off that, he's not going to do good this year. But he didn't have a great preseason last year, and he went to the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't put too much stock in it. As long as they have JD at the helm, and they've got a lot of pieces now, and I was a walk-on at KU. I even did a Comms 130 speech about, you watch, KU's going to be good. I can see it trending in the right direction. This is when we were bad. And then we won the Orange Bowl a few years later. And so my prediction was correct then, and my prediction is correct now, that KU is definitely going to be competing for that Big 12 championship, winning the Big 12 championship at 7-5. Excuse me. and getting a playoff berth. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I'm ready to see them against, and KU is notorious for playing the softest team they can find first, then the second softest team they can find, then the third softest, so you got KU at 3-0, and then they end up 3-5, and then the Kansas community is back to, oh man, we suck again, but we had some big wins last year. They're capable. They are. They're in the right conference, wouldn't you say?
For where they're at, yes,
right.
Yeah,
right. And the conference kind of came down to their level, and so it's a perfect storm. What is that?
Oh, it absolutely did. I've said the Big 12 has been overrated for years. The fact that they are still considered to be a Power 4 school and their conference champion is going to get a bye week out of boy, I tell you what, that entire thing does nothing but piss me off. When I saw the rules, I thought to myself, what drunk asshole wrote this on a napkin at a bar, drunk off of his ass, and was like, man, I got an hour to turn this damn thing in. I don't know what we're going to do. It just started writing shit down. You can't use the conference champion as a tiebreaker anymore, but you could use it to vote him higher. But even if the conference champion is ranked lower than somebody else, they still get the bye week, bro. Why? Because they're the conference champion. That's why. That's all there is to, like, what the who, like, this is, and here's the thing. Somebody's going to go, well, the NFL's like that. I've said for the longest time that the NFL needs to do away with AFC versus NFC and just have the best 14 teams in the NFL in the playoffs. And honestly, I don't even think it should be 14. I think it should be 12. Damn participation trophy. You're letting automatic division winners in with a 8-9 record. Why? And then some team with 10 or 11 wins gets left out for that division winner. That makes no sense. So I can't stand half any of the playoff systems, if I'm being honest with you. The NBA, they need to do away with it. People always go, well, that's it. That's what. No. That's why you have an all-star game. That is why you have a Pro Bowl. That tells you which conference potentially has the best players, but that doesn't tell you who has the best team. And I hate that we put so much emphasis on division winners and conference winners. That doesn't always mean shit. Look at the Big 12. OU's been blown out in 3 out of the 4 games that Cincinnati did better against Alabama than OU has in any of their playoff games. Period. And before anybody goes, well, they had that big lead. They blew it, though.
And who beat Cincinnati? Oh, no, that was UNLV. I thought KU beat Cincinnati, but...
What are you talking about? In the college football playoff?
No. You're right. I was thinking the bowl game, but...
Yeah, no, it was Alabama that beat them, and Alabama didn't exactly manhandle them. Everybody acts like Cincinnati just got blown out. You had Michigan State. They were horrible. See, now you got me going, Austin. You asked the right question. You said the right thing. You knew what you were doing. I cannot. It blows me away that a team who has done nothing to earn a spot in the top 25 gets a spot. Why in the absolute fuck was Florida State ranked number 10 in the country? Half of that damn roster went to the NFL a season ago. You think they just woke up and were the same football team? No.
And I used to think if you had a ranking last season, then you probably should be in the top 25 the next season. It's yours to lose. What say you?
Why? that doesn't make any sense. You haven't done anything this season.
How do we scout? Oh, you're saying no preseason rankings?
None.
Period.
I
like it.
They don't look. Nobody needs to have a number in front of their name until after the 8th week. That is when the first vote should happen to me. Because, for instance, you just brought it up. KU played Lindenwood. But then, on the other hand, tomorrow, you're going to have Notre Dame playing Texas A&M. You're going to have Georgia playing Clemson. And then you're going to have USC playing LSU. Now, here's the thing. We don't know how any of those teams are going to be. What we do know is that Georgia has basically ran college football for the last couple of years, them in Alabama. What we do know is that Texas A&M has got a new football coach. What we do know is that Clemson has potentially, I don't want to say, I think DJU leaving wasn't exactly a bad thing, right?
No.
You get Dabo Swinney. He's got a chance to kind of back to the path, which, by the way, they've still been winning 9-10 games a season. Those fans are so spoiled over there. I'm a Syracuse fan. Give me 10 wins, please. Back to back to back. Thank you. But we don't know what any of those wins or losses are going to look like 6 weeks from now. So by week 7 or 8, you take LSU and USC, that might be a hell of a football game. But it could end up being that those two teams are really not that good. You look at Notre Dame in Texas from years back. That was a hell of a football game to watch. And everybody got geeked up and said, these two teams are going to be great. Neither one of them won more than 7 games that season. I don't even think Texas finished 500. Right? And they were both ranked to start. Why? It's so unbelievably unnecessary. And what do they want to do? They want to draw a rating. Do you think if Texas plays Notre Dame week number 1 in college football, nobody's going to watch that game because there's no rank in front of them? That doesn't even begin to make sense. They're so scared of losing their audience. That is why you run commercial ads, as if they don't know that. They pitch commercial ads to Coca-Cola and Budweiser and Corona and all these other places all day, every day. You don't think that they don't know how to fucking advertise? It gets to a point where it literally takes away from college football. And it takes away from it because now you have a false narrative, right? Florida State was pushed down everybody's throat. Georgia Tech came out and exposed Florida State potentially for who they are. But here's the thing, though. We don't know if Florida State goes and peels off 7 wins in a row now. And Georgia Tech is 3-4 in a few weeks. We don't know. Or they expose who they really are, and Florida State's won 3 games by week 8, and that ranking was abysmal. But it changes it from Georgia Tech with an upset to, man, that was a really good football game, if nobody has a rank in front of them. We're not talking about Florida State potentially being overrated. We're not talking about Georgia Tech pulling off a miracle. Instead, what we're doing is we're asking, hey, is Georgia Tech really this good? Is that run game going to be sustainable for the entire season? Do they have a quarterback who, he missed a couple of throws, but maybe just first game out, jitters, can he get better? Those are the questions that should have been asked. Instead, it was, is Florida State overrated? And it took all the way away from what Georgia Tech did. And that is why I hate preseason rankings, because they destroy what the real conversations should be about. You see what I'm saying?
So what about so if we just do away with the Associated Press poll,
right?
That's the official poll, correct? Yeah. So if we just do away with that and we leave these fringe polls for the media outlets to, contemplate on, and it gives us more to talk about, and I like what you said about, let's talk about what's actually going on, and then the anticipation of week 8 when those rankings come out.
Right.
Now shit gets real.
Yes.
I love it, man. You convinced me.
I think for me, it because look, this is the final thing, right? So you have to understand that this committee, every year, they're pretty much a fickle group of people, right? So Florida State starts off ranked number 10, all right? And they have a really hard time with Georgia Tech, but let's say, for argument's sake, they are able to win that football game, okay? The rest of their schedule is really, 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 you see what I'm saying? It's just like, I just get to a point where I think to myself, what you're doing is you're giving an unfair push and an advantage to a football team that doesn't deserve it. And we are consistently meriting people off of past accomplishments. Every fucking year, we have to deal with Miami being somewhere in the top 25 to start the season. And last year, they didn't even finish above 500. And they were ranked, I think, in the third or fourth week of the year in the top 15. And Georgia Tech beat them because of poor execution at the end of that game, poor play calling from the football coach. Everybody goes, oh, they just kind of blew it. No, listen, from top to bottom, they blew it, but they got exposed. They got exposed for who they really were. And the committee, to me, is not watching as much football as they claim that they are. And if you followed the coaches poll from last season, the committee was basically just mimicking what they were doing. It literally was the worst. And they look, 1 week you had Florida State, they were top 4. The next week you dropped them out. The next week they were number 1. And they weren't losing football games, right? They had no structure for what they did. And then they left out an undefeated football team. And all these weirdos ever want to say is, well, look what happened with Georgia. Bro, half the roster left to go to the NFL. Congratulations. Georgia beat their practice squad. Good. Great for Georgia. Right. The fact that Kirby Smart said what happened out there, people got to decide what they want. He knew damn good and well what happened, and that was Florida State flipped the middle finger to everybody and said, we're not playing. We're here, but we're not playing. We do not care. You told us we weren't good enough? Fine. Fuck you. I don't give a shit about your ratings. We earned our spot. Why wasn't Trey Benson, the best running back in college football last year, given an opportunity to show what he could do in the college football playoff? Why wasn't Jared Verse
trying to make money?
Man, why wasn't Jared Verse, the best defensive end in college football last year, shown what he could, given a chance to show what he could do against a real football team like a Texas or a Michigan? Why? Why was he held down just because his quarterback got hurt? And then what do they do? Well, Florida State wants to win some style points here. They need to score at the end of this game. Did the committee not watch the other 3.5 quarters? Did they not see what happened? My ticker's going, man. I'm telling you, bro.
Heard the hornet's nest.
Dude, and look, people think I'm over the top with this. But I get upset because these kids at the collegiate level are fighting for their lives. They have been under so much pressure. The only thing I like about the college football playoff is that one loss does not, kill your season. There are teams that have been left out of BCS and college football playoffs. Houston, they were a 12-1 football team. They were a solid team. Why weren't they given their shot? Central Florida
they earned it.
Yeah, in Central Florida, they were undefeated. And what does everybody say? Well, they wouldn't have been able to. Well, you say the SEC is so great. Did they not beat an SEC football team in their bowl game? And then what do these people say? Oh, well, they didn't really care about the game. Why is it when an SEC team loses, they didn't care? When they win, it's, see, we told you, we're the best. The hypocritical narratives that are out there is what makes me mad when these 20-year-olds are being called bums and losers by 40-year-old men. 50-year-old men are telling these kids they are bums and losers, and they're every other name in the book, everything but a child of God. And then a committee acts like it's a fucking ballerina dance, and we have to judge them on how pretty they look when they win a game of football. Why? That makes, we need to do all the way away with the voting system, because the human element, which is what everybody wanted back after the BCS era, right? But the human element says, well, I think you should have won that game by 30 and you only won it by 28. What's your problem? It's stupid. Like, splitting hairs like that is ridiculous when it comes to the college football playoff, but every year it happens. And I guarantee you it's going to happen this year. Everybody's like, oh, 12 teams get in. No. That's not going to matter. There's going to be a problem with it because of the way the rules are written. It's left open way too much to interpretation. Way too much. And by the way, for the record, Florida State's got Boston College, and then they got Memphis. So, you know.
They better be 2-1 after that.
I mean, come on, seriously. You know, North Carolina didn't impress me last night. I mean, the ACC doesn't look very strong at first look, right? But we don't know how things are going to go. Obviously, North Carolina, gruesome injury last night. But, you know, we don't know how the rest of this is going to go. And I get to a place where this is like role reversal. I'm used to you doing this. I just, for me, the bottom line here is if we abolish the voting system and we put in a set standard of this is what you have to do in order to get into the playoff, then I am good with that. Because then it'll be definitive and not some jerk ranking, you know, because look, you have to understand. Think about this from an MMA perspective, right? Because they do brackets, they do tournaments, right? So let's say Michigan plays Ohio State at the end of this season, and both teams are ranked number 1 and 2. Let's say, for lack of anything, Ohio State wins that football game, all right? Ohio State goes on. They then win their conference championship. So you've got Michigan sitting there at 11-1 now, okay? And by the way, they got Texas this year. So you got Michigan sitting there at 11-1, all right? Now, let's say Clemson finishes the season 9-4, but they're a conference champion, and they're ranked 24th in the country. Not only do they get a bye week, but they get like a home game because they were a conference champion, and that would make Michigan, instead of a 2 or 3 or 4 seed, they are now a 5th seed, even though they are ranked number 2 in the country. How in the does that even begin to make sense? From an MMA perspective,
when they're seeding
right,
playoffs.
Exactly.
Right?
So and think about this from an MMA perspective. That would be like the champion deciding, well, that's all good and dandy, but here's the thing, though. This guy over here who's ranked number 12, I would rather fight him than the number 2 guy because I think the number 12 guy just came out of, you know, some local thing and he's doing great and he's fine and his record's not as good and everything, but I just feel like this is a better matchup anyway.
Oh, yeah.
It's
the leeway, like you said, the leeway. It might even be set up for the SEC.
Multiple teams. Because the way that the rule is written, there's literally no cap for how many teams from one conference can get in. So basically, SEC teams, all they really got to do is win 9 games. That's it. They just got to win 9 games. And they're probably going to be the majority. I'd be willing to bet my bottom dollar that when we have the 12-team college football playoff, which, by the way, it's an invitational. This is not a playoff. When you're voting on something and selecting something, that's called an invitational. It's not a playoff, okay? It might as well be called the SEC Invitational because if Bama has 9 or 10 wins, they are getting in. Georgia's got 9 or 10 wins, they are getting in. If a team like a Tennessee has 9 or 10 wins, they're going to get in. LSU, 9 or 10 wins, they're damn sure going to get in. And they will be getting in over teams that have 11 wins. I promise you it is going to happen. Exactly. But who determines that strength? Who you're going to tell me that Vanderbilt's a good football team? When was the last time Tennessee even sniffed playing for an SEC title, let alone a national championship? Mississippi State, when they were the best, when they had Dak Prescott, got blown the fuck out by Georgia Tech. Are you kidding me right now?
They were running triple auction back there.
Yeah, they were running that wing option. Yeah, you know what game I'm talking about. All right? They whooped their ass, man. I think they went easy on them in the second half, and that's why it looked like Mississippi State had a shot. No, they didn't. That game was never in doubt, bro. It was over at halftime. Are you kidding me? Right? But I promise you it is going to happen. And then even if 3 of those teams win, it's going to be, see, look how much stronger the SEC is. And they're going to make sure that they seed them and that they rank them in such a way that they will put them up against the best possible matchup for the SEC team to come out on top, bro. I guarantee you that is how this is going to go down this season between them and the Big Ten, because that's where all the money is. All the money right now is – go ahead.
This is supposed to allow Boise State of the 2000s to make it into the playoffs.
Right, which
but they're going to get shunned.
No, it's going to happen. At least one at-large is going to be able to get in, right? But who are you going to pit them against, though? That's the thing. Because if they win their conference, it doesn't guarantee that they'll be able to get a bye because it's the highest-ranked conference champions, right? That's the way that it's going to work. So let's say Boise State gets in, but they're going, no, you're at large. We're going to pit you at number 6. That scenario I just talked about with Michigan being 11-1. Now you got a pissed off Michigan team, mad because they didn't get a bye. They're a number 5 seed. You think for 1 second they're not going to be waiting to take it out on Boise State?
5 versus 6, just like that.
Man, and I think here's the other thing, too. It takes away from the actual rankings for the season. Because, to be honest with you, if all that really matters is 12, then why do we need 25?
Right. Well, you know, and again, it's that fringe bells and whistles. It gives them something else to fight for. I mean, KU's ranked number 22 right now.
Yeah, they are.
And you know that Jayhawk Nation is like, yeah, we're trending upwards. Because we used to just, if we got into the 25, if we were 25, we're like, yeah. Now we came out preseason ranked 22. Now we're 1-0. Man, that's good for us. But it's not good because that's why we play the season. It's going to work itself out.
Exactly.
I honestly, I've never heard anyone suggest that we should have the rankings come out later in the season. And I just can't get it out of my head. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But because think about it like this. Right? Let's put it in MMA terms. A fighter who's won 24 fights in his career is getting ready to fight a guy who's won 0 fights. Okay? That was over a career. Now, let's take last year. Let's say 2 guys are getting ready to fight each other, and last year, both guys won 5 fights. But then they neither one of them had a fight in 6 months. And other guys have been fighting. They've been fighting other guys that they've been fighting, and they've been doing all these things, but everybody else has had a layoff, right? These other 2 fighters have had a 6-month layoff, and there's been no interest in fighting. Now all of a sudden, despite the fact that they've been fighting and everybody else has, they're going to still maintain their rank. Why?
They held their ranking, right?
There's a reason why in combat sports, if you don't defend a championship, you get stripped of your title. You have to prove that you are still the champion. Otherwise, bro, give us the belt back and we'll give it to somebody who's going to defend the damn thing. Somebody who takes. Let's
look at John Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's a press conference recently that the media. I've never heard someone talk to Dana White like this.
He should be stripped.
He said, Dana, see, this is what you do. You talk over us. And Dana White said, I'm sorry, go ahead. And their point was John Jones is not an active fighter.
No. He hasn't. He got the belt a year and a half ago. He got injured in November when he was supposed to defend it and hasn't even come close to getting into a fight since. Why in the hell is that man still a champion? Why do we have an interim championship in that division? Why won't he? John Jones.
An interim championship that was defended.
Exactly. Okay? And if you ask me at this point, even if he does want to fight, I think he's scared to. It's crazy to say that, but John Jones, what does he constantly talk about? How many of my own records can I break? That dude is so scared of losing, it's not even funny. He really is scared to lose a fight. And I don't give a damn though if it's Aspinall or whatever. But this thing has got to end. But I think John Jones knows this. If he gets stripped, everybody else is going to be called a paper champion. And he will save his legacy. And he knows that.
Yeah, that's the best move. That's the best move. He needs one more payday.
Yeah.
Miocic needs one more payday. You know, he fell. I guarantee he has not gotten better in this layoff.
No. So, look at what kind of shape John Jones is in, bro.
Well, he tricked all of us in that one. If I put on 40 pounds, I ain't going to put it on in my shoulders and my legs. It's going to go right to my belly.
His belly has gotten big, dude. That dude's been drinking, bro. I could tell by looking at him. His eyes are yellow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's been partying, dude. All right.
No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. He's been partying, bro. And
Cyril Gahn wasn't. I mean, Cyril Gahn looked great when he would win. He could move. His striking was fluid. But we knew that was a perfect fight for John Jones. Perfect.
Exactly.
That John Jones won that fight just like he should have.
Well, and here's the thing, when somebody's that good and they're phoning it in, doesn't that piss you off even more, Austin?
Yeah.
Especially you as a trainer.
It's nice to have that guy. It's frustrating to have that guy. But it's even more frustrating to lose to that guy when your guy did everything right and there's just nothing you can do. But Miocic is not going to beat John Jones. But Aspinall can. So I honestly think that we should just have Aspinall as the champion, and Miocic and John Jones can fight for the number one contender. That would be all right with the world.
Yeah.
But we're waiting for John Jones. Miocic is waiting on John Jones. We're all waiting on John Jones, and it's like waiting on Connor. You know, we got all the way to fight week. Gosh. You know, John Jones even has something going on in his personal life. Like, I think he just caught another charge.
He did.
And we're just looking past that. And this is the same someone's holding the strings, just like college football. It's the same. It's the perfect analogy. Perfect. I mean, it really is a testament to that fringe bullshit that we've gotten so accustomed to that we need to get back to what we're actually watching, and that's fighting and football.
Right.
You know, those are two, you know, football, fighting, and golf. And there's another tangent. Golf, that's pure. It's pure. It's your score. You know?
That's fine, but that game was so boring.
Oh, well.
Golf is boring, bro. Ugh.
Golf may be boring to watch if you're not a golfer.
Dude.
And everyone's a golfer.
When have you played?
Everyone's a golfer. You're the only one not playing golf.
Okay, first of all, no. Secondly, last time you were on a golf course and 90% of the dudes on the golf course weren't hammered. You have to be okay, right? So you have to be drunk.
No,
bro.
That's the casual. I'll tell you this too. Another draw for a golfer to become good, right, is to, if you look at the percentages of what all the golfers in the world are capable of.
By the way, we just got a text from our CEO. we have violated every FCC regulation today. We profusely apologize for the vulgarity. Sometimes I have a tendency to go lead Corso, and I profusely apologize. So I accept full responsibility for this. And by the way, we've also gone 20 minutes over our time here. So real quick, button this thing down. I like Clemson to beat Georgia. I like A&M to beat Notre Dame, and I like LSU to beat USC. Austin, thank you so much for joining the program. I really do appreciate your time today, my man.
You know, we have too much fun, and I'm having a lot of fun. So I'm just thankful to be on the show, thankful to be on the Hip Hop Network, and thankful for you, Drew.
Thank you, man. I really do appreciate you. Well, and this morning was on WBFR radio, so we were live. So it is what it is. Austin, I will get a fresh cuss out from him momentarily. So that'll be fun. Looking forward to that.
Keep your bearings and don't take it personal.
Well, hey man, you know the way I see it, everybody takes a beating sometime. So. All right, everybody, your local programming is next. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Enjoy yourself. Don't you dare touch that dial.